Global Currency Reset Explained. Okay, pretty much all financial blogs that are well researched and educated, in our opinion, anyway, have relented that there is going to be a global currency reset, GCR, in most news feeds and posts. It's also the consensus that no one really knows when it will begin in earnest. Some say it's already begun and some have placed it as taking until 2020 to complete. No one knows what it's going to look like. We are all hoping above all hope that it will be a smooth and quiet transition and martial law will not be imposed. And it's all across the board on how the dinar and dong revols are actually going to affect anything or everything. Some say they've already begun, and some say that the elites have cashed in at the premium rate, and now the second and third tiers are opening up. All have reported an NDA is enforced for any of the non-preferred holders. This in and of itself comes with its own bag of tricks. To read up on that aspect and get extensive education about the GCR, see the entire article from which the following is extracted at theeventchronicle.com. One thing is certain, almost everyone agrees that this has to happen. Again, the following will paint a very good picture, and the big picture is found best at Mike Maloney's 5-part series called The Hidden Secrets of Money. We implore you to watch that series if you do absolutely nothing else. Anyway, below are some excerpts from the eventchronicle.com article entitled Global Currency Reset. Are you ready? BTW, I found that I like most of this author's posting, except any reference to channeled material. I'm just not a big fan of channeled information, as much of it has proven to be disinformation. That said, it's one of the most informative articles on the GCR and according to the information I've been able to gather and find truthful. Hope you enjoy. And it seems that we should probably be strapping ourselves in for a pretty wild ride. And one last thing, once again, anyone who keeps their money in a bank at this point is just plain uninformed. Happy reading, and thanks to eventchronicles.com for such a thorough and well-researched article. As usual, with all the noise that exists and is disseminated on the internet, please use your own ability to discern truth from fiction. We can only do what we can do and hope that we're on the right trail. As excerpted from eventchronicles.com, the reset has to happen, no doubt about it, but when and how is another story. All of the major currencies of the world will be revalued based on the assets of the country itself. This is supposed to be according to a source. The IMF should be charged, but since details are secret, we don't really know. It's important that we understand that the only way we are going to know is to check foreign exchange sites on a nearly daily basis. If not, the only way you might find out is word of mouth. Hey, did you hear about the GCR? Yet, by then it will have been too late. A global currency reset will be on the front pages for days, but its effects will last indefinitely. Banks might shut down, people might go hungry if they don't have access to cash. It's important that under these circumstances you fully comply with the local laws. If we have a global currency reset, then you just might need to find a safe way out of the major cities, even if just for a week. A cabin in the woods is better than a large metropolitan area. When a global currency reset actually happens, you might not be able to get out fast enough if you have to wait for the major cable news networks to tell you. And the wrap-up of this informative, and very long, article, Global Currency Reset Overview. What is a global currency reset? Let's parse the term by first explaining that a currency reset is either a revaluation or devaluation of a nation's currency within a fixed exchange rate system. If a nation revalues its currency, its central bank raises the value of the nation's currency at a fixed peg with a reserve currency, such as the US dollar. A devaluation would lower the value of the currency in relation to the reserve currency. The alternative, which most of the world's developed economies use, is the free-floating currency, which means the currency's value is independent of the values of other currencies. Hence, the value of a free-floating currency is determined by supply and demand. Generally, a nation revalues its fixed exchange rate currency in response to positive economic growth and trade surpluses, as China did with the renminbi in 2005. If a nation runs trade deficits or suffers continuous capital outflows, they may find themselves obliged to devalue their currency. One way nations devalue free-floating currencies is, intentionally or not, by inflation. Many economists assert that a fixed exchange rate muzzles inflation. However, the U.S. Federal Reserve has spent trillions buying securities through its quantitative easing program. Officially, the federal government claims that the nation's inflation rate has been around 2% annually. With all the new money introduced by the Fed over the past few years, the market dynamics of supply and demand dictate that high inflation or even hyperinflation is on the horizon for the US dollar. Thus, a global currency reset, GCR, would be either a revaluation or devaluation of a reserve currency. It could even mean that the world moves away from the reserve currency altogether. The most apocalyptic scenario would involve 100 countries or more simultaneously devaluing their currency, an event unprecedented in world history but one not beyond the realm of possibility. Why would this cataclysm occur? It would be a currency world war where scores of nations compete to lower their exchange rate to boost their exports and remedy trade deficits. And according to some economists, currency wars don't contribute to economic depressions, they end them. As the US dollar has been the world's reserve currency since World War II, a GCR would have a profound impact on the dollar's role in international finance and trade. Perhaps most significantly, the US, which has borrowed exorbitantly since the time of the Vietnam War, would see its borrowing costs skyrocket. European economists have conceptualized the term exorbitant privilege for the advantage that the US holds over other nations by benefit of being the world's reserve currency. By serving as the world's reserve currency, the US would never face a currency crisis, i.e., a sudden currency devaluation. A GCR would remove America's exorbitant privilege. BRIC nations are already in the process of moving away from the dollar. For example, China has established bilateral trade agreements with Australia, Japan, Thailand, Russia, and Vietnam that allows for direct currency trade instead of converting to the US dollar. What does this have to do with precious metals? A GCR, which is already beginning, will devalue the US dollar, causing inflation to rise rapidly. If Americans, or anyone else, have their wealth stored in the dollar, a fiat currency, inflation will rob them of their affluence. What will serve as a reserve currency? Gold and other precious metals have traditionally been a steadfast haven for protecting wealth. When fiat currencies collapse beneath their worthless weight, intrinsic assets like gold and silver will remain as a benchmark for the world's currencies. Just look at the amount of gold China, India, and the other BRICS have purchased since the Great Recession and draw your own conclusions. We must have a global currency reset very soon, as all fiat currencies are doomed. Precious metal sages are fond of saying, "Don't wait to buy gold and silver. Buy gold and silver and wait." That's what the world's richest individuals do. Now you understand what you need to know about the global currency reset.